Hey, welcome back. I'm Boff. I live in California, and while I was waiting for Tesla to sort out my license plates, I remembered that California is a 2 license plate state. Now this is important because there's nowhere to put a front license plate on this thing. So the way I see it, there's 2 ways to go about this. I can either drill holes into the front grille to install this front license plate that comes with the car, or I can find some sort of, I don't know, grill attachment license plate that doesn't involve any sort of invasive drilling of holes into the front grille. So I looked on Amazon, and it turns out there actually are products that you can just mount and you don't have to drill holes or anything like that. Now, looking at these guys, it will serve the purpose. You're going to have that front license plate. You don't have to drill holes. That's awesome. But then I started to think, well, the whole reason why I was kind of bummed to remember that as a 2-plate state to begin with was that I don't want to lose the slick look that I have in the front. I like the way it looks without the license plate. And so the pricing aside, which is fairly expensive, I also didn't really want to have that front license plate set up just kind of poking out of this nice slick grille of the Model X. So I had the craziest idea. I just kind of thought, what if there's a company that could just sell license plates as a wrap, as vinyl? I know vinyl wraps are a huge thing now, and why couldn't you just have a sticker? You know, it's going to serve the purpose. You have letters and numbers, and as long as you can have it in a retro-reflective sticker, it'll be fine. Turns out, the very first Google search I found was licenseplate-wrap.com. So these guys are authorized by the state of California to sell vinyl wrap decals that are license plates. They look exactly like California state license plate, and they pretty much are. Now, the one caveat is it is a pilot program, and it has been, as far as I can tell, for a few years now. And basically that means if the DMV or the state of California decides to end the program, it looks like we're either drilling holes into this thing or buying that expensive grill attachment, because it'll no longer be legal if California decides to end this program. Now, I'm not sponsored by these guys, but they were nice enough to send me a sample plate so I can show you guys the install. The catch is I have to send it back, which actually kind of works out because I can show you the removal and I can see for myself whether or not it's actually going to damage the paint or the ceramic coating that I have on the Tesla. Now you can head over to licenseplate-wrap.com to order one of your own. Just a couple of caveats. One, you can only order one per vehicle that's registered with the state of California. They're not going to do any of the registering for you, so you have to get that done yourself. And speaking of which, if you're looking for special plates, you also have to take care of that before going to licenseplate-wrap.com. There are several warnings letting you know that you have to do this stuff, but it's still going to let you order, and it will let you order any plate, including special ones, and whatever quantity you want. Luckily, they will get in touch with you and let you know if they're not seeing your car in the registry, or if you're not registered in certain programs. Anyway, in my license plate order, obviously it came with the license plate itself. I got a set of instructions and a mini kind of cutout of a Model X owner's manual page, which I guess is to point out where the sensors are, and that's going to be important once we start going through the instructions. Okay, so let's talk about the install. So these instructions do a good job of calling out where Tesla owners should pay specific attention or have special instructions outside of a normal install. And the primary reason for that is going to be the sensors. You don't want to place this thing anywhere where the normal license plate would not be placed because of all the sensors around the Tesla. And sort of a surefire bet that you're not going to be blocking any sensors is to place the thing where you know a license plate would already go. I know Tesla probably wouldn't be putting sensors where they know it could be potentially blocked. All right, so of course the first step is to clean the area. They recommend using isopropyl alcohol, and that'll do a good job of getting rid of the dust as well as drying up quickly so that you can go right into the install. Of course, some OCD kicked in, and I did some measuring and some taping and some leveling and all of that. The plates come out to exactly 12 by 6 inches, so you can find center at the 6-inch mark, and I just used the lip of the grill to level it. Next, they're going to want you to use some tape for alignment, and so you can find that center and level. I just used the crease there at the near bottom of the grill for level, and then you use some thin striping tape. It's basically thin electrical tape to mark out center. Next, they also want you to actually fully tape this thing on and take it for a drive to make sure it's not going to be obstructing traffic aware cruise control or autopilot. Finally, once you have a good placement for the plate, go ahead and peel off the backing and then work your way from left to right, rubbing down the license plate, making sure there aren't any wrinkles or bubbles. If you do find wrinkles and bubbles, it really helps to go a little bit at a time, catch those wrinkles and bubbles as they appear, pull the wrap up, maybe apply some heat with a heat gun or a hair dryer, and then replace that down, wait for it to cool, and then rub out any creases or bubbles that you see and continue installing the rest of the wrap. If you just kind of haphazardly rub this thing on and and then you find that after giving it a shot of heat that there's a bubble or a wrinkle that appears, it's going to be a little difficult to take the wrap off. It's not impossible, but it is kind of tough, and it puts you at risk for warping. And then it'll also cause some other wrinkles and creases from removing the wrap, as I saw with the sample plate. Now, since this was a sample, I was able to beat it up a little bit to show you guys what it'll look like when you do have some mess ups. There's some good news and bad news here. The bad news is there does appear to be a limit to how far you can work the vinyl before it will just kind of not go back to normal. At least as far as I can tell, and with my little experience with vinyl wraps. The good news is it's not impossible to get it to a state that is acceptable. There is a little bit of a shrink wrapping effect where the vinyl will have a memory and kind of tend to go back where it was before. But it's going to take a lot more effort and time and doing to troubleshoot that rather than installing it correctly the first time. So at this point, for my actual license plate, the install went much better when I scored down the middle of the backing and removed that completely. So the idea here is to start from the center, and once you get it centered and level, you can actually just press down on the adhesive part of the wrap and then work your way one side at a time. So you can peel off the right side, for example, slowly go and correct as needed, and then peel off the left side and slowly go and correct as needed. And I found it super effective. The actual license plate that I have on the front now is perfect, and I absolutely love the fact that it is maintaining that slick form factor that I love about the Model X. Now, of note, once you get your license plate installed, you are required to inform licenseplate-wrap.com that you have done that. Let them know the date that you installed it, and let them know the mileage in your car when you installed it. The reason for that is they're accountable to the California DMV to let them know how many participants they have in the pilot program, and you wouldn't want to get into any mix-ups with law enforcement over whether or not you're a legal participant of that program. Now, for removal, one thing I'll say is it is removable, but it takes some doing. So that's one of the reasons why making corrections at the last minute is kind of tough, and you want to get it right the first time, even though it is still technically workable. After I removed it, I didn't really notice any difference whatsoever in the paint that was under the wrap or the paint that was outside of the wrap. It didn't appear to have any effect, no residue, no damage at all to the grill that I could see. I think this is a paint safe option. I'm not sure if they make any claims to that, but I'm very pleased with the fact that it didn't leave any residue or do any damage to the paint. All right, that's going to do it for today. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're hitting the like button. I'll see you next time. See ya.